places to learn how to yodel. This is the way this is the way
Aloha mai kako, and welcome back to Hawaiian Storytime with Aunty Kalia. This week, super exciting, and we're going to be reading Ka'imi's First Roundup, a book about a little Paniolo who just wants to rope his own bull by himself. So we're going to hang out with our friends here, and then we'll get to our mo'olelo. Okay?
They do like cowboy. Cowboy must know how. Cowboy must have car. With his boots, saddle chaps, and his spurs. I'm down in a Tahitian cowboy.
Look at that. Look at that. You have a ponytail on his head.
Riding on the range every night. The babies are thicker than cactus, and I'll never ever ride this range again.
Ka'imi's First Roundup, written by Ilima Loomis and illustrated by Don Robinson. The morning was still dark when Papa's truck rumbled up to the corral, but Ka'imi was wide awake. Today was his first roundup. The Paniolo were already in the pen, finding their horses and leading them away. Papa caught a buckskin mare for himself and a gelding paint for Ka'imi. Ka'imi stroked the horse's soft nose as Papa hoisted the saddle onto its back. When the horses were ready, Papa reached into his saddlebag and brought out a fine kaula'ili, a rawhide rope. "Boy," Papa said, "all you need is one strong horse, one strong heart, and one strong kaula'ili. If you have those things, you can be a Paniolo." Ka'imi's heart danced as Papa handed him the kaula'ili, the rope. All week he had watched Papa make it, stretching the leather, cutting it into strands, and weaving it into a tight braid. More than anything, Ka'imi wanted to use it today to rope a bull for Papa. Ka'imi rode with the Paniolo into the vast, quiet grassland. Not even the birds made a sound, and the last crickets of the night fell silent as the horses approached. All Ka'imi could hear was the muted thump of hoofballs and the whisper of wind through the yellow grass. The earth was in shadows and the sky was streaked with blue, pink, and gold. The cowboys rode many miles across the wind-blown pasture, but found no sign of the cattle. Ka'imi practiced roping the bushes, imagining they were bulls, until Papa told him to stop. They tromped through a lantana patch, startling a wild boar. It streaked away with a squeal, but not even Papa reached for his hunting gun. Today was not for hunting. They rode all morning until the sun was high in the sky. Ka'imi wondered if they would ever find the cattle. At last they stopped at the foot of a tall pu'u bulging from the plains. At a nod from the foreman, Papa spurred his horse to the top of the hill. He stopped there and gazed in one direction, then the other, from the mountains to the sea. When he rode down again, he was smiling. "The cattle are on the other side of the pu'u, not far away." The Paniolo slipped quietly into their positions, and the foreman gave them silent orders with his hands. Nobody wanted to scare away the cattle. Papa leaned over so close Ka'imi could feel the warmth of his whiskery cheek. "Ride with me, boy," he whispered. "Stay close and do what I do." Ka'imi's hands flew to his kaula'ili. Finally, a chance to rope a bull. Papa smiled and shook his head. Put that away for now. You won't need it today, he said. Then he moved to a spot near the back of the herd. Ka'imi's heart sank. How could he show Papa he was a real Paniolo if he couldn't even rope one bull? But he knew better than to argue. The roundup began. Across the pasture, Ka'imi heard the cowboys shout as they drove scattered groups of cows and calves into a tight herd. He and Papa moved in on a bunch grazing in a stand of guava trees. Hey, 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 they shouted as they waved their hats and slapped their thighs. The animals stared at them with big eyes, then glanced around fearfully. Just as they began to move, a young mother cow bolted, scattering the group like spilled marbles. Papa's horse sprang after the runaways. I'll catch them! You hold the rest! He shouted, just before he disappeared into the brush. One cow stood on the far side of the clearing, another hid behind a distant tree, and another peered out from a tangle of scrub. They all watched him, ready to run. How could he hold them in one place? Ka'imi prodded his horse toward the nearest cow, hoping to drive it closer to the others, but it dashed into the brush. The next one followed, and the next. Each cow he approached ran away until he had lost them all. Ka'imi wished he could run away too. He had only wanted to show Papa he was ready to be a Paniolo. Instead, he had lost all the cattle. In the distance, the herd bellowed and snorted, and the cowboys shouted, Maope, Mamua, hele, hele, hele. As the cowboys drove in the last of the herd, Ka'imi heard another sound above the din. Ma, ma, ma. He followed the cries through the twisting paths of the thicket. In a small clearing, a tiny calf called and called for its mother. Its cries grew louder as the herd got farther away. Ka'imi nudged his horse closer to the frightened baby. He knew what he had to do. As Ka'imi approached the roundup, he saw a large herd with lots of new calves. The Paniolo were laughing, happy that they would be paid well for the day's work. But Papa had a worried look, and Ka'imi realized he'd been gone a long time. Hooey! Called Ka'imi from across the field. Everyone stopped to watch as he rode out of the forest leading the calf with his beautiful new kaula'ili. Papa broke into a big smile. He swung down off his horse and kneeled in the dirt. He checked the calf's mouth and eyes, felt carefully down each of its legs, and finally leaned over to peer under its belly. Pipikane, he announced. Boy, you roped your first bull. The Paniolo cheered and slapped Ka'imi on the back. Papa put his heavy hand on Ka'imi's shoulder, beaming his approval. Ka'imi's heart soared. Lucky I had my kaula'ili, he said. Yes, Papa said. Now you are a real Paniolo. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed Ka'imi's first roundup just as much as we do. It's one of our favorite stories about being brave and courageous. We hope you guys join us next week here at Hawaiian Storytime with Aunty Kali'a. Aloha! Alright, hola! Hola! Shaka, bra!
let's go.
Alright!
Good job, bud.
Goodbye. Yee! You want one more?
Go.